Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So obviously in the last few weeks we've been hearing a lot of talk from Billy Joe Saunders' camp in regards to certain circumstances surrounding the Canelo Alvarez fight. Billy Joe Saunders has a lot of grievances, and these issues include the judging, the promotion of Billy Joe Saunders leading up to this fight, the ring size, even Billy Joe Saunders' purse going into this fight. You know, he signed for this fight on the proviso that 15,000 fans would attend. Obviously, that's no longer the case. It's 70,000 fans, and he's complaining that his purse has not been altered accordingly. So, Billy Joe has a lot of grievances going into this fight, and in fight week, the main grievance is the ring size. Now, according to Billy Joe Saunders' team, namely his dad, the ring size for this fight will be 18 foot. And of course that will favour Canelo Alvarez. 18 foot traditionally is a small ring, and that would obviously favour Canelo against a mover like Billy Joe Saunders. Team Saunders say they wanted originally a 24 foot ring, which is big, but they're saying that they would compromise on a 22 foot ring, which is also above average by the way, but anything less than a 22 foot ring, Team Saunders say they will pull out. And Tom Saunders recently did an interview with IFL TV a couple of hours ago, and he said the ring situation has not been resolved and that they're pulling out of a fight. Now, me personally, I think this is all basically a lot of talk and essentially a feeble attempt at mind games. Tom Saunders said that there was no ring size stipulated in the contract, so Billy Joe Saunders pulling out of this fight because of that. Legally, I can't see this guy having a leg to stand on. As long as the ring size is within that state's parameters for what a ring should be, then Billy Joe Saunders has no real room to argue or pull out of this fight, and if he does, I would imagine he would be liable and subject to a lawsuit of some description. So I can't see Billy Joe Saunders pulling out of this fight. I do believe it's mind games. I think he's trying to unsettle Canelo. I think his team's trying to unsettle Canelo. And also, they want to put this out there to put pressure on the officials to actually give him a fair shake in the ring. Because if Team Saunders carry on the way they carry on, and, you know, and let's say, for example, they fight and a lot of fans see the fight as a robbery. Let's say Billy Joe Saunders outboxes Canelo and he loses on the cards. Well, that kind of validates exactly what Team Saunders have been saying for these past few weeks. So maybe this is a method of trying to apply pressure to the officials to actually, you know, officiate this fight fairly. I think that could be the method behind this madness, but the whole notion of Billy Joe Saunders pulling out of this fight, I cannot see it happening legally. I don't think he's got a leg to stand on. If there's no ring size stipulated in the contract, then as long as that ring is in that legal parameter, then what leg do they have to stand on in pulling out of this fight? They have none, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I think Billy Joe is trying to get what he can here, and he's playing hardball. And listen, I can see why, considering how certain Canelo fights have gone down in the past. If I was fighting Canelo, I'd be talking about the judges, I'd be talking about certain things just to try and apply a little bit of pressure and to put it in the public's consciousness of what it involves fighting Canelo, what you're up against. So I can see it from that perspective, but the whole idea of pulling out and all this shit, I think it's a load of nonsense, quite frankly. And yeah, the Team Saunders right now seem to have this siege mentality. Basically, they're putting out the notion that it's us against the world kind of thing. It's us against Eddie Hearn, it's us against Canelo, it's us against the judges, it's us against the ref, and it's us against the Athletic Commission. That's what Team Saunders are trying to put out there right now. And could that be for an insurance policy? Should Billy Joe Saunders lose this fight? Built-in excuses? Absolutely. I'm not really convinced about how confident Billy Joe Saunders is going into this fight, if I'm being honest. But on the flip side, you know, that sort of siege mentality, us against the world, it can be very motivating. Maybe they're using all of this as fuel to try and motivate Billy Joe Saunders, finding every little thing that doesn't go their way, and they're basically turning it up to 100 to try and motivate Billy Joe Saunders. Some people are like that. Some people like having the feeling that the world is against them, and then they perform. That's definitely a real thing. And yeah, maybe Team Saunders are using this as fuel to fire Billy Joe, who knows, but listen, it is what it is. I think this is a whole bunch of nothing. I do believe these guys will actually fight on Saturday night. One more thing I wanted to add to this video. I'm somebody who gets a lot of critic from UK fans that I don't back British fighters. Ultimately, I only say who I think is going to win a fight, whether they're British or foreign. If I think the foreign fighter is going to win, I'll say I think he's going to win. I don't pick fights based on nationality or anything like that, and I don't support fighters based on that. I like who I like, it's that simple. But there's a lot of guys out there who say, oh, you need to back the British fighter at all costs, etc, etc. Well, have you noticed these same people, in this case, they're backing Eddie Hearn more so than Billy Joe Saunders in this scenario. Billy Joe's saying that Eddie's against them, and his team are saying Eddie's against them. Certain things haven't been fulfilled. You know, he's insinuating that he's been lied to in the build-up to this fight. And where are these backer Brit fans? Someone like me, I get called a hater of UK fighters, but here we have Eddie Hearn, allegedly, according to Billy Joe, basically backstabbing him and favouring Canelo. Again, I'm not sure how true that is because I've not seen the contracts, but that's what Billy Joe and his team are basically insinuating. But, you know, these backer Brit brigade are more so concerned with Eddie Hearn and backing him, more so than their fighter. And they'll say nothing about Hearn. Yet, fast forward a few months ago, when Daniel Dubois fought Joe Joyce, Frank Warren was getting all sorts of criticism for backing Daniel Dubois in that fight. But forgetting the fact that Frank had Daniel Dubois from when he was 18, 19 years old, from his first pro fight. He took him out of the amateurs and built him from ground up. He spent a lot of time with Dubois, whereas Joe Joyce was a recent signing. Obviously, Frank Warren is going to side with Daniel Dubois. And listen, if you want to criticise him for that, fair enough, but have the same standards for Eddie Hearn. These same people are not saying nothing about how Eddie Hearn is being portrayed by Team Saunders during the build-up to this fight. But it is what it is. But someone like me, who'll pick fighters who I think is going to win based on their skills and who I think is going to win, I get called a hater. But there you go. It is what it is. Share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Del Boy. Peace.